and see if Hyped can do this, or will Savjz be the one who's able to secure second place and get a good lead with his handlock deck. All right, so Hyped ends up pushing away most of his cards here, and he ends up getting an okay start. Now, I don't think I've ever seen Savjz play Zoo. I think if he's ever brought Warlock, it's always been Handlock. And I think Hyped is aware of that, so you can kind of make a pretty strong assumption based off player preference and history that Savjz is more likely to bring Handlock here.
Yeah, and also that Hyped is more likely to bring Miracle than Aggro Rogue.
Right.
Which we haven't seen a lot of after Naxxramas. Unfortunately, it was one of my favorite decks before that, but, you know, this Legendary just killed it.
Alright, well, Savjz does have Lotheb, a very important card. He's also got Twilight Drake to drop on turn 4, so his hand is shaping up pretty decently. Hyped has a very important turn where he drops something on turn 3, so that way, if he has spells like Eviscerate that he draws into, then he can answer it. But he gets immediately soul fired. Oh no!
Ooh, okay,
he loses Lotheb off the discard, and Savjz is really unhappy about that. Ugh,
yeah,
yikes.
he wouldn't mind losing any other card here. You know, he would prefer a Molten Giant or an Ancient Watcher probably, or an Owl. Like, all of those would be great. But even if he lost either Soulfire or the Twilight Drake, it wouldn't be bad. But Lotheb was devastating.
I wonder.
Man, you know, I'm just trying to soak in what we just witnessed. The fact that Molten Giants might be sitting here dead for a while, because you'll be at like 18 health before you die, so at best you can drop 1. Savjz definitely had 2 out of 6 chances here, or 7 chances, excuse me, to discard something that he didn't want, and he took the one card that I think he wanted to keep the most. Now, Hyped still has to deal with this double Twilight Drake that's most likely coming out here. It's gonna be a little tricky, and he's just figuring out if there's a way to even use his SI7 agent, maybe just to kind of stall.
I wonder.
Probably not. I mean, you could play naked SA7, just, you know, combo, but I'm not sure that would accomplish much. So his alternative might be just passing the turn, so perhaps.
This guy's
Yeah, just getting a 3-3 out there is better than just passing with no play. Ooh, and that's
Okay.
Legendary should picked up.
There you go. And now Savjz ends up discarding the Sludge Bell. Oh man, this is a disaster. Soulfire has been grabbing every single best card in Savjz's hand and taking it away from him, and effectively, basically killing like Soulfire, or I guess if you interpret it, Farseer and SI7 killed Lotheb and killed Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, they did.
So
There it is.
that's pretty devastating already.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, though Savjz does have a good board. Like, he has 2 cards that are pretty hard to kill, and that kill his opponent in 3 turns.
All right, so Gadget Zan is gonna start drawing, and Savjz will wait and kind of think over like the probability that those 2 things happened in tandem. It was 1 in 7 and then a 1 in 5. And you kind of compound it and multiply it, and Savjz's like, God dang it.
Yeah. He has to make sure that he doesn't, you know, dominate his thoughts here. Because that doesn't mean those plays were wrong, you know, he was just unfortunate.
Choose soon.
And it's very easy to just be locked into thinking that, and then you just end up missing something else that he could have done. So, has to snap out of it. You know, it happened.
Alright, well, now Hyped has all of a sudden a magical amount of cards here. He's got like 8 cards, 9 cards off the draw, and that's a lot to potentially deal with these Drakes who aren't sitting at high health. Savjz has a very passive turn, most likely dropping an Ancient Watcher and just kind of seeing what he can do, and he has to make even tougher decisions, like, do I try to go for a minion board presence, or do I give up one of my Drakes?
Yeah, I think you hit it with the 4-5, but, you know, that is worse in the case of a sweeper, but Blade Flurry wouldn't kill the remaining guy anyway, so it would if you get attacked. You know, Blade Flurry plus your power at the second time, so he decides to, You know, just keep the high health mean, knowing that his guy's gonna die anyway at 1 toughness.
Yeah, the problem though, then Eviscerate becomes likely as a finisher versus you just saw an opponent had SI7 agent, so I guess you're just playing based off the information that you have. At this stage though, like Sype drew around 5 cards, so he already has the opportunity to potentially have anything at this point. It's not impossible. And a second Gadget Stand Auctioneer has been revealed, and that's more bad news for Savjz because he also, this Ancient Watcher, if it goes down, like, that's his Shadow Flame target if you draw Shadow Flame, and he can't deal with like a Concealed Auctioneer.
Yeah, he can deal with an Auctioneer here. Well, he could silence it, but you know, it's still gonna. Yeah, assuming the Ancient Watcher dies. Yeah, he could silence it, but he's still gonna take 4. Ooh, Leroy. Yeah, but unfortunately, both his Soulfires are gone. So, you know, the kill potential of that Leroy is greatly diminished. But he does have the Faceless Manipulator, so he can wait to turn 9. That's 12 damage.
Oh man, those 2 turns seem like an eternity, though. How do you expect to live for 2 turns? It's gonna be kind of tricky. Hyped is also aware of it, of what this deck can do too. Not to mention, he already has Leroy and Shadow Step. And that's 16 damage right now.
Yeah, and he has the Conceal and the Low Tab and an Eviscerate, so he's got pretty much everything. Charged off, you know, straight out lethal in his hand.
So many options.
Now, there is 6 damage, and Hyped is just wondering if Leroy plus Power Overwhelming or Leroy plus Hellfire can finish it now too. So, as much as it might be tempting to go for a big play, I think he actually has to remove here.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, better just play it safe. And if he doesn't take that 2 extra damage, then I guess there's no way for him to not take the 2 extra damage here.
So many options.
Because he can only kill 1 of his opponent's guys. So yeah, he's gonna be at 12. So he's gonna have lead on turn 9. The question is whether, you know, you can kill him before that or simply play a healer.
Alright, now Savjz with a very tough question of how do I get this to kill next turn?
Yeah, he is dead to Leroy plus 1 Shadow Staff. His opponent does have, so he has to kill a minion here.
He was really hoping this was Shadow Flame, because then you could attack with the Drake to the face and Shadow Flame, and you have Leroy.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Ragnaros is definitely not it. And
nope.
Yeah, now you've made yourself extremely vulnerable to everything that's going on. Is he gonna try to Leroy and Mortal Coil to draw something else? But what can you really do? You have to draw Power Overwhelming.
Soulfires.
No, you had to draw Power Overwhelming. I realized what Savjz was doing. He was drawing for power. Oh my god, if this play works out, this would be insane. For the win!
Pretty close though. Good effort, I think. Recognized his best chance to win, which was not killing his opponent's minions. And just, you know, going for the face. Trying to get lucky, he had 2 draws to draw 1 up.
Half-court shot ends up missing there, as now Hype does have the combo damage to end it with Leroy. And Savjz had a small opening, but it was very small. He tried to draw 2 cards and was not unable to do it. So Hype takes game number 1, and he defeats Handlock with Miracle in a very important snipe here in the series.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and the fact that Savjz had those the 3 cards from the left, you know, the Owl and the 2 Molten Giants, were in his hand for basically the entire game. He was effectively playing with 3 cards last this whole time, and that really hurt him.
With this Token Druid deck, that's normally very aggressive, and even has some superstar cards like the Spectral Knight and Lotheb.
Yeah, so he does mulligan away those Ras that, you know, could potentially be good to kill a 3 power guy, but, you know, a 3/3 doesn't really care about that, especially since he has the coin, so there's not going to be an SI7 coming down turn 2 to hit his 2 drop. And a pretty slow start by Hyped, who doesn't have a decent play until turn 5 at least, with this particular hand.
Yeah, he can go for a clear.
Yeah,
With
well,
Fan of Knives over the course of 2 attacks.
yeah, that's
But,
gonna be pretty good for him. And he also drew a 4-drop, so shipping it a lot better than short alternatives.
Definitely. Now, on Creeper is like one of those things where if Backstab comes into your hand, that would be the dream.
Yeah, you're still pretty happy with this. You know, just leave that 1/1 Honda Creeper there.
Alright. You have Blade Flurry, which is good.
Yeah.
Very important card. The Veets, in the meantime, has a pretty nasty curve. After turn 1, 2, 3 small minion drops, it accelerates with turn 4 Cairn. And a Hype has to kind of use something like Sap in order to answer it.
Yeah, that is true. But it kind of dries out after that. You know, after that you have all removal spells and no more threats. So if Hype can deal with that, though it is a pretty good minion to be your last minion, so this is very hard to deal with. I imagine he has to play Nomish Inventor here. You know, he could play a big Edwin Vanquish, but that
Wow.
I don't love that.
That's really creative to go for an Edwin.
And
When-
Shadow Stab Edwin again, but it's not even that big. And if your opponent has Keeper, you just wasted not only a Shadow Step, but also your turn.
I think he's really afraid of Defender of Argus, though. Defender of Argus makes Gnomish Inventor feel pretty weak.
Does it? I mean,
Or even swipe and press for damage.
yeah, it could be, but playing Vanquish just does not seem like it accomplishes much. You know, even if it doesn't die, it only picks off 1 minion at a turn. Ooh, he drew a 5-drop here. That's huge because you know even if he got sapped, now he has a play for next turn.
Huh. Well, Hype. The good news for Hype is he picked up Auctioneer. In fact, double Auctioneers. All around.
So immediately swiping it, sapping it, and just putting a 4/4 out there. Doesn't need to be much bigger. But
Okay,
yeah,
well now Savjz has the board to play Spectral Knight.
yeah, he could play swipe and clear the board, but playing Spectral Knight here is probably just better. So he does lose his Spectral Knight, you know, which is one of his best cards. But yeah, it would take his opponent's whole board to deal with that, so I don't think he cares that much.
Hatchet's hand actually doesn't do much in this spot.
No, he has nothing he can play. No, he did pick up the Assassin Blade to go with his Blade Flurry.
Oof.
We could see Assassin's Blade coming up with Evan to kill the 4/6. And then maybe a next turn Blade Flurry. Or the alternative is, I guess, it's Gadget plus Shadow Step. You know, I think I like Assassin's Blade a lot. Not a lot, like a little bit more. But you also take a lot of damage from that. And you are not a very high life total.
Yeah,
So
you don't
pretty-
want to
pretty
just
tough decisions.
die to Savage Roar. This is very
Yeah.
tricky for Hyped because also he has to take these threats very seriously because of what could happen with Defender of Argus on that. So you might want to go for like a trade on the minion, but like on a Harvest Golem. But I feel like you want to also kill off the Spectrum Knight. Ugh, it's tough.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so chooses to let the Spectrum Knight leave. Thinks he can just kill it next turn. If it comes to that.
All right. Well, he is getting kind of low on or health, that is. And this allows
Yeah.
Savjz to go for a swipe clear and press for damage. And this is one of the scenarios where having Assassin's Blade is cool, but you're taking a lot of damage if you attack into the Spectrum Knight and Blade Flurry.
Yeah. You
Oh,
kind of
man.
have to, I think.
Oof.
Ooh.
Ah, but
He's 1 mana short of doing Azure Drake, Deadly Poison, Blade Flurry. Which would actually wipe the board.
All right, well, maybe preparations can help him.
Okay, just to wait for it, you know.
But I believe this is just game right here because Savjz has Force of Nature to just kill him. And this is the whole point of the aggressive Druid deck, to be able to accomplish a lot of aggression early on. And hopefully the fact that Rogue often has to use her hero power in order to clear your minions early on can just start racking in damage really quickly. Because just look, it was a turn 7 kill.
Yeah, no, that's pretty interesting. In a turn 7 kill, and, you know...
The decisive favorite. This freeze hyped mage is still so new that the matchups are very relative. But I know Hyped actually released a guide, and I've been meaning to watch it, but for the life of me, I don't like playing mage right now on ladder. I just don't enjoy it, so I'm always like, I'll watch it as soon as September 23rd comes around.
Yeah, that would change a lot. Yeah, I was just thinking whether he wants to keep Spectre or not. I think generally you don't want 5-cost minions in your opening hand, but he thinks it's so strong against the mage deck that it's worth keeping. And I'm sure he regrets it now because he drew another 5-drop minion. But he does have the coin, yeah, so he can actually just run then on turns 4 and 5 if it comes to that. But that means missing a turn 1 play.
Well, if you turn 2, drop, turn 3, use one of the Haunted Creepers probably, and then turn 4, coin, turn 5, play minion, I think your curve's actually kind of okay.
Yeah, I
You
think
do
that's
lose
better.
1 mana.
Not using the coin here as the turn 1 is definitely good to guarantee you're going to have good plays on turn 4 and 5.
Alright, well, Hyped, by the way, gets a pretty decent start with Mad Scientist.
Yeah, his best start, I think. You know, best thing that I can do is a turn 2 Mad Scientist. Though it is kind of
No.
awkward because he doesn't want to duplicate Mad Scientist now.
Right. He
If he
doesn't
does,
want
he
to
definitely-
have the trap, or the secret rather, pop, and then he has 2 more Mad Scientists to grab the one other secret here. So,
Yeah.
good choice.
And now he hopes it's Ice Block.
Yeah. I
It
think
is
he's
not,
still
it's
okay with-
Duplicate.
I think he's still okay with duplicate. Oh, it is duplicate.
Yeah.
Alright. Why Drake isn't bad because even if he has Keep of the Grove, you get 2 more, and it comes back a little bit stronger.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Though it does, he has to hope his Mad Scientist doesn't die, basically.
Well, Sludge Belcher following turn will be a good way to challenge the Spectre Knight. We talked about how Spectre Knight is really powerful, but Sludge Belcher is one of the cards that can actually outvalue it because head-to-head, it ends up surviving.
Yeah, and this is not the normal mage deck, you know, that would be relying on fireballs or something to maybe kill that. If it came to that, you know, this can actually just play minions and fight it in combat. And Hype here attacks with his Drake. No doubt because he doesn't want to get, you know, punished way too much by Keeper of the Grove. So now it's only 2 toughness anyway. So if he does that, it's not even good. So he could always Keeper the Belcher.
So Veets does have Defender Vargas to basically push back, but it's gonna be still a little painful here because he is going to lose his Spectre Knight. At least you just
Yeah.
gotta do what you gotta do.
And he gets 2 Sludge Belchers back.
Alright, not bad.
No, not at all.
Dare I say that's pretty good. Oh, and Hype picks up more ways to freeze the board with double Frost Bolts and Frost Nova. You can save that for now.
Yeah, probably just playing a minion here, not playing those boats. Probably deciding between Karen and Sludge Belcher.
Do what to do.
Oh, no. I guess not.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is a bit weird because it means that, you know, for the next many turns, he's only going to be able to play 1 spell a turn.
Yeah, that was really
Whereas, you know,
interesting.
those Frostbolts, you know, really fit well in your curve, you know, letting you play, you know, 2 things a turn for the next 2 turns. But yeah. Well, I guess it paid off because he's, you know, the biggest issue would be if Savjz used his hero power to finish off the Drake. But that would mean spending his entire turn. He has no 4-drops, so he gets away with having a 1 toughness minion.
Yeah, I think he's kind of okay with that, considering, generally speaking, that deck doesn't have much good stuff to do with 4 mana. So if he dedicated to it, you're okay with losing the Drake and having a turn pass.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
We have a lot of options here. You know, could attack and hero power to finish it off, but then he just gets another one. But at the same time, if you pass, you know, if you don't attack the Karen right now with your Drake, you're probably never gonna do it. So he does have Sledge Belcher to prevent the hero power from killing it. So perhaps the best play is to just send everything to the face and just play Sledge Belcher. Okay, decides to not expose it to a swipe, for example. You know,
Yeah,
once it gets
cash
value
in on its
before it
value.
dies.
You're expecting like an Ancient of Lore next turn anyways, of some degree, and then from there you have the option of using like Frost Nova and dropping Sucking Sludge Belcher or something equivalent to that. You know this is
Yeah,
Ice
or
Block too,
Duplicate.
because Duplicate has been used.
Yeah, he could just play, you know, Sledge Belcher and another Duplicate next turn.
Oh, wow, look at how much damage Savjz has. He has double Savage Roar and Force of Nature,
Ooh,
which
yeah.
means he has 22 damage from the hand.
So here I have to wonder, would it be better to heal his 4/5 instead of... no, it wouldn't help because he would just trade with the hero power and the 1/2 token anyway. Okay, so drawing 2 cards is definitely better. Yeah, he does have a lot of surprise damage. You know, most people play around one part of the combo, they don't play around double Savage Roar because that takes so many more cards. But yeah, he does have all of it.
To do.
Unfortunately, he's facing potentially 4 more Sledge Belchers before he can, you know, send something to the face.
Alright, well, Hype slow playing it, and take his opportunity to develop Cairn. It's very clear your opponent didn't have Keep with the Grove. Savjz has a full hand practically. Probably wants to develop some of his other minions before he starts threatening the opportunity to go for huge damage.
Yeah, and you know, he knows he's probably going to want to hero power that guy anyway, so he just does it now, because 1 damage to the face doesn't matter at all, and he even has Alexstrasza for that. So definitely better to just hit the 5/5 and turn it to a 5/4.
Savjz also might be cautious with how he does this, because I mean, the hero power on the Ancient of Lore also makes you slightly more susceptible to Flame Strike, so you don't want to just flood the board for no reason and then open yourself up to a Flame Strike ping, and then you lose everything.
Yeah, and Savjz doesn't know that this is an ice block. You know, for all he knows, they could be a duplicate. So maybe
you're
he's
right.
thinking, yeah, do I want to risk giving him 2 more Sledge Belchers? But yeah, apparently he decides he has to. You know,
Or
better
if
Sledge
it's
Belchers than
Mirror
Cairns.
Entity.
Yeah.
Well, I guess actually it's been up for a little bit, so it can't be Mirror Entity, excuse me. Mad Scientist came for that.
He did draw that Keeper of the Silence from the raft, so he can silence the Cairn. Not sure how much good this is gonna do for him though. Yeah,
Oh,
prefers
wow.
to just playing low tab.
Yeah, the low tab shuts down the ability to play spells, but now Hyped has an interesting choice to be pretty aggressive here.
Yeah, he didn't want to play spells anyway, I don't think. You know, he can either play Alexstrasza or the 2 other minions, and both situations are really good. Yeah, he's still, you know, still not threatening the double combo, but he has to think. Well, he still has the ice block, so he's not gonna die to the combo anytime soon.
But if he did have combo, he would. If he left everything up, this ice block would get popped. So if you Alexstrasza, you probably have to trade into Ancient of Lore.
Yeah, but I think I don't know if you care it's gonna get popped. Yeah, I think so. I think if you're Alexstrasza, you trade. You might trade regardless. You know, you probably do want to trade regardless.
All right, back over to Savjz. Oh my
Ooh,
goodness,
okay.
double Innervate. Jesus, he's got 13 mana this turn.
Yeah, that's a lot. Can he kill his? Can he pop Ice Block now?
What to do?
A good question. Let's see, if you double Savage Roar, you'll have 6. You can attack with Hero Power.
Yeah, the
You'll
problem is
have
that you have.
9 plus 12. That's 21. No, I think you're gonna be short a little. You overkill too much.
Yeah, you have to send 10 damage at that Sledge Boucher. The only issue here is, not big concern, but now you are out of Sledge Boucher, so you lose the chance to duplicate them, and I think they're your best target at this point. So that opportunity is gone, but you're still happy with whatever happens here.
There's a lot of calculations going on. The game has slowed down so much.
Yeah.
In this scenario, because there's a lot of meticulous planning of how to actually go about this turn. It seems like Keeper of the Grove is being reached for to silence his minion.
I must safeguard the land.
All right,
Okay,
he's
he
gonna
goes
go
for the face
aggressive
here.
stance. But he's gonna play Druid Claw in defense mode. Or defense mode. God, what game is this? In talk mode. It happens.
Yeah, okay, interesting situation here.
Okay.
So he sets up for a lot of damage next turn, so he can potentially pop Ice Block and get rid of his opponent's board.
Right. This is kind of clever because even if the board gets dealt with,
What to do?
Savjz has a way to pop Ice Block. Because he's got 22 damage with Savage Roar and Force of Nature.
Yeah, well. And his opponent does not have Flame Strike. Of course, he doesn't know that, but yeah, pretty good. And sitting at 30 life himself and knowing his opponent cannot play Alexstrasza this turn, unless they don't get rid of the board, you're feeling pretty comfortable to just put your opponent in 1 life.
Okay.
So it will be
Shall we go
devastating.
for it?
It will be devastating if he uses his entire hand and board. His opponent just plays Alexstrasza and he goes straight back to 15.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Has to kind of be mindful of it.
Yeah, should probably just, try to clear the board as much as he can. Maybe he doesn't even need 2 Savage Wars. Ooh, Frost Nova.
I wonder how much it is merit eventually as you play against Hype's deck that you want to save Keeper of the Grove for instances where you want to silence your own minions. By the way, oh my god, I just realized what Hype did with this. I was like, why didn't you attack the Haunted Creeper? It's because you can't load the board up with 3 tree ants now with Force of Nature. There's only going to be 2.
He only gets 2. That's pretty smart.
That is brilliant. And now Alexstrasza can go and attack, and he can do 10 damage. Are you afraid of a clear, though? Either way, that was a really clever turn from Hyped. He even played around double Savage Roar Force of Nature. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
At this point, his opponent has had those cards for a very long time and hasn't done anything. So you have to be thinking, what can they be? And he came up with, well, they could be Devil Savage Roar and Innovative Force of Nature, and they were. So really good job.
I wonder.
But now he has to be thinking if they are those cards. Well,
now it's like on the pressure to Savjz to clear here. He has to pop Ice Block and clear.
no, he doesn't
Can he
have
do it
to
here?
if he just clears. Because, it's not like his opponent is running Fireball or something like that, so his opponent has to kill him with minions. So if he just
doesn't
clears the
know that.
board, he could have, 2 more turns to kill his opponent. Okay,
He
there is a
doesn't know
duplicate.
that, though, for sure.
Yeah. There is a duplicate, though, so he has to be mindful which one he kills first. Probably not this Ledge Boucher.
You know what's awesome about Hype's Mage deck when I think about it? Is that he can just rotate cards in to really throw off the scent. Like, he can just take out 1 duplicate and put in a counter spell eventually. Or he can, rotate in Antonitis and get some extra damage, or even maybe just 1 fireball. Like, you never know. And then this Mage deck always has, this element of, well, am I doing this? Am I not doing this? And
Yeah, I mean, he
eventually,
could,
you can't feel like you just know his deck. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, you could take out a Cone of Flame, a Cone of Cold, and, add a Blizzard or something, which even though it plays a very similar role, it's a completely different card to play against.
Time waits for no one.
Ooh, chooses to not go for the combo here.
You have Savage Roar. I think it accomplishes pretty much the same thing. And the most important aspect is that Force of Nature is damage from the hand anyways. Also
Okay, so
clever to use
chooses-
duplicate.
Yeah, chooses to give him water elementals.
Oh my god, wait, does he have enough time? He's running out of time. The rope's burning down.
How much mana does the token from Karen Bloodfifth cost?
It costs, I want to say 4 mana. But that's a good
Okay.
question, because I don't ever get the chance to really see.
Because if it costs 6, then perhaps it's better to bounce that one instead, and to give him 2 of those with duplicate, but if it costs 4, then you'd rather give him the water elementals.
Alright, now the Cone of Cold will stall it out, and Savjz used both of his Savage Roars here in order to clear the board, but he didn't pop the ice block. And he's going to try to see if he can search for answers.
Oh, he drew,
Maybe
you
if
know.
he rats and get Keeper of the Grove. No, I can't. Never mind. There's the problem of you might just die to damage. So
Yeah,
I
he
was like,
has to kill that Molten Giant, so he has to Wrath plus Force of Nature. That's a very, very ugly use of Force of Nature, you know? Playing it to not even kill a minion.
for sure.
You know, 6 mana execute. But I think you have to do it. What's your alternative? You know, trying to draw a card, what are you hoping to draw into?
I don't know how Savjz can pull out of this one. The Giants Mage here from Hyped has completely sucked away the power of Savjz. He's used both Savage Roars and a Force of Nature. Now Savjz is left with just an Innervate. And Hype still can't kill him though. That's kind of what the humorous thing is above everything else.
He's probably gonna Innervate Hero Power here. Oh, chooses not to. Okay, he's hoping he draws Ancient of Lore. So that his Innervate will be able to, you know, let him play another card that very same turn.
Right.
A lot of elementals.
Yep. I thought you said you couldn't play Arena in constructed mode, but I guess you can. 3 water
Yeah.
elementals.
Yeah, so it pays off to not have used the Innervate. It's probably not gonna matter, but now he can Ancient Floor and draw into Defender of Argus.
Yeah. If you heal though, I guess you can also put on some pressure, but you still can't pop Ice Block. That's the biggest, most painful thing of all.
Yeah.
You can barely survive by 1 damage, but how do you win?
Yeah, I
Another
think
Sludge
he
Belcher.
had to try to draw
Wow.
into Defender of Argus. I don't know if he has any left in his deck. But yeah, this game is pretty bad for him because his well tap is gonna die to the hero power. Oh, or not. Yeah, I guess if it's frozen, you don't care about killing it. Just put your opponent to 1 life.
All right, well, I don't see a way for Savjz to kind of do anything at this point. It looks like Hype's going to jump out 2-1, and well played.
Yeah, definitely.
Very nice heads-up play several times, as Hype will be able to Flame Strike and push through. And now take another game yet with his Mage deck, which consistently shocks me to like how it's able to work well enough. But it makes sense, you know, you ban Hunter so that way the players won't be good against it, and you just try your hand to see how it fares against the rest of the field. So, and the Paladin is pretty good though against the Mage because it can heal, it can taunt, it can clear boards. Giants are no problems. It's gonna be tricky, I think, for Hype to do this. I'm leaning heavily towards Savjz's deck. But, you know, who knows? Every time I say that against his Mage deck, it always ends up winning.
Yeah, I will take Hype here. But I have not played this particular matchup, so I could be extremely wrong. But yeah, it seems to me like he just has more threats than Savjz has answers, and Savjz is not fast enough to pressure him to having to do anything. He does have his first equality here, which is, you know, pretty good.
Yeah, quality, of course, super important in the control matchups. Being able to get the full board clear against the Molten Giants will be huge. I think the real key card here is Duplicate for Hype. How does he use this card so that way he gets multiple iterations that cards become really problem of clearing? If you get
Yeah.
multiple Twilight Drakes or multiple Sludge Belchers and like equality clears won't fully clear it because he's just gonna reload.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as long as he doesn't get multiple, mad scientists or doomsayers, I think he's fine. All his other, maybe water elemental, he doesn't want many off either. But he's fine with Drakes, Belchers, any of the legendaries, and Molten Giants.
I guess multiple Doomsayers is like his own quality in a sense. To set the board.
Yeah. And Savjz has two legendaries that, don't actually do much. Harrison Jones and Black Knight. But Black Knight, well, there is Ledge Belcher. So I'm sorry. It doesn't do as much as it does against Handblock. Because Hypestack has no taunts. No taunt givers. So the best you hope for is Ledge Belcher. Which is probably coming next turn, so.
Yeah.
Or maybe
I
not
think
if he
so.
wants to finish off. Yeah.
Make it pretty strong against whatever the board can do.
And no
Still a
attacks
little
here.
early.
Yeah. And does have the duplicate there, so if he does play Black Knight, he will scoop up 2 more Ledge Belchers.
All right, so back over to Savjz. Do you want to coin out the Black Knight? I mean, this is probably the best target to do it. I think it's important
Yeah.
to. You put it 4/5. It's way before Flame Strike. Even
Yeah,
though
I
it's got
think-
5 health.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fine. And so, you might be worried about duplicate, but that's going to trigger some point. You can't stop it. So,
Being 1 mana off Flame Strike actually does kind of sting here.
yeah. And he's also 1 mana off being able to, play as Ledge Belcher and beating the Black Knight for 1. Because now both the Black Knight and the Shade will have 5 toughness.
Well, Savjz does pick up Choose Silver Champion.
Yeah, but the question is, do you want to expose your Shade to Flame Strike here?
No.
If he doesn't attack, yeah.
But then something as simple as oh wow, by the way, Polymorph on Karen is excellent. Something as simple as Frost Nova Doomsayer though is always like one of these situations where you're kind of sad because you might not get some value off of that. Either way, I think Hype's still he's kind of like pacing himself pretty decently. He does have Ice Block in hand, and it seems like Savjz can now start taking the aggressive stance with this the Shaded Naxxramas. Curse Naxxramas.
Yeah, this Shade is definitely going to attack this turn. I'd be very surprised if it didn't. Oh, it doesn't.
Wow.
Wow.
He holds.
Okay, super conservative play here from Savjz.
Alright. Hyped puts out Mad Scientist, so hopefully that can pop, well, I guess Ice Block in this case. You don't really necessarily want to duplicate the Water Elemental as much, I think.
He could control which one he gets, by playing the Ice Block first if he really wants duplicate. Or if he really wants Ice Block, then he can't control it, but... Yeah, I'm thinking he's probably fine with either.
Ooh, Kodo. Now, if you know your opponent runs Giants, do you want to use Kodos aggressively? I guess you just want to pressure the board, though. The 3/5 body, I think, is more valuable than...
Yeah, and he has to. So... he would need... Which... Oh, it was Ice Block. Okay, so he tried to duplicate. Yeah, so he would need...
How scary is this Shade of Naxxramas? Jesus Christ. Just continue to grow.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not doing anything. Is he going to attack now? Probably not. No matter what, it's probably going to attack once. So I guess you might as well just wait for it to be as big as it possibly can be. So, if you run on Extraza, you can maybe wait for it to get to 15 and just one-hit kill. But I don't think it does.
This Shade just keeps getting bigger. I think there needs to be like a betting pool of when this Shade will attack.
Yeah, or who can get the biggest Shade in the tournament?
I suppose so. Rekful would be in the running for the lead for sure.
I wonder.
Yeah, you know, lots of alternatives here. Well, not lots of alternatives. You know, basically either Karen or Sledge Boucher, and you know, does he want to run Doomsayer into basically its demise
What to do? What
just to absorb 7 damage?
Well, yeah, basically the most important thing is he does have
Perhaps if he
like a,
plays. Right, go on. But perhaps if he plays Doomsayer and Sledge Boucher, he forces that shade to come to at least become alive. Because it has to come off to kill the Doomsayer, I think.
I suppose that is true.
Though he does have a Kodo in his hand, so he doesn't actually have to do that. He just Kodo and that will kill the Doomsayer.
This water elemental doing work, by the way, disallowing the True Silver Champion from ever being able to attack. Alright, will
Yeah.
this be the turn that Shade and Naxxramas attacks? I'm saying no, but
Yeah, I think
I'm
so
willing to
too.
be proven wrong.
I think no, because Danny would be exposed to Flame Strike plus hero power, and just doesn't want that to happen. No, he could Holy Light it.
Oh, you're right, in case it ever heals. Oh, it does attack!
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
there's the Holy Light.
Oh my
Okay, but
goodness.
now the Kodo is gone. So if he does play Doomsayer and has something like a Frost Nova, then that's gonna be trouble for that Shade.
Alright, well, Hyped gonna go for a removal play, and hopefully this freeze is long enough. Meanwhile, he still has Frostbolt. But if he Frostbolts next turn,
it's
this
just gonna
Shade actually
grow.
powers up.
Yeah, he has to kill it now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, he can't kill it now. Yeah, he can't kill it next turn either. So it's always gonna, you know, it's always gonna be staying at 4 toughness if this keeps happening.
Another Shade of Naxxramas.
Yeah, no, both Flame Strikes are gone. So he has to draw a way to freeze them. Oh, there it is. A way to freeze all the minions, and then he can play the Doomsayer.
Hmm.
And there's actually no way for Savjz to remove it other than casting Equality.
Equality on a Doomsayer. And
Yeah,
then
but-
Hyped can still deny it by
With-
Frostbolting the face, and then forcing
Yeah.
his opponent to have Wild Pyromancer with it.
Which would be the exact same as Doomsayer happening, so...
But how do you read this? Like, if you go for a Doomsayer Frost Nova play, then you're basically saying that I don't think you have Equality Consecration, which is kind of likely to happen. So he's hedging his bets here. Okay, I like this. It's just saying you probably don't have it, but just in case you do.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, you know, late enough in the game that he could have Equality Consecration, and he hasn't had a chance to actually use those cards. Though if he does cast Equality, then you can at least start machine gunning his minions with your hero power, because it'll all be 1 toughness. So you wouldn't even bet that bad then.
Oh my goodness.
Super strong turn
Duplicate
here.
on the Cairn is going to be pretty nasty.
Yeah, he does have that Peacekeeper, but you know, yeah, if he has a Peacekeeper, there are no taunts in Hype Stack, so he can just ignore that 1/5 and never attack it.
That belongs in a museum.
He chooses to go for Harrison Jones instead of playing Guardian of Kings.
Well, I guess it contests it in the same way. And Hyped also can draw a lot of cards this turn.
Yeah, he can.
Oof.
So what
Alshraz
happens
is
when you
actually
have
so
multiple minions?
powerful in this matchup because Paladin can't really burst, so if he ever gets to a scenario where you put yourself back at 15, it's kind of another grind for Paladin to get you down.
Yeah, definitely. But what would happen if you have multiple minions and they all get cleared at the same time and you have duplicate? Do you get back, you know, the first one that you played?
Right, if you're talking about like a quality clear.
Yeah.
I believe it is the first one you play in the order, but sometimes there's like weird triggers and sometimes it's like Blizzard might say it's a bug or whatnot, so I do advise people to try it out and report if there's any kind of differences, but for the most part, as far as I recall, it's usually the first minion that's played.
Someone's out on me.
Okay, so at least that 1-4, 1-5, not 1-4 is gonna, do some work regarding those tokens.
Yeah, it's relegated to janitor duty. Savjz picks up Acolyte Pain, which might be another reason to keep this Cairn alive, actually, so you can keep drawing off of it.
Oh yeah, just keep grinding it.
Then all of a sudden, Hype's kind of okay with Molten Giants being duplicated too. That's not too bad.
Oh yeah, I certainly wouldn't mind getting multiple Molten Giants.
Savjz, by the way, in a very loungy position.
What do you mean?
He's got his feet
Oh,
up,
I see, yeah.
chilling.
Pain, speak to me.
Yeah, that's how I am
Hearthstone can be
too.
pretty tiring on the lengthwise of the game.
For duty.
Oh my
Ooh,
goodness.
Sylvanas.
I bring life.
Man, you duplicate your Alex Strazas. I don't know. This is starting to get a little funky here. Hype
Yeah,
also
but if he
trying-
does clear, yeah, if he does clear the board, you will duplicate the cairns, like Strazas. So
Savjz leans forward. He says, "This is starting to get serious." Oh man, he's actually trying to kill me. You might get duplicates Alex Strazas, and then Paladin will keep hitting you down, and you're gonna keep booting yourself up to 15.
yeah, it would be interesting.
Follow the rule.
Second equality comes in the hand of Savjz. That's gonna be really good against the impending giants.
Yeah, for sure. And he does have 2 Pyromancers and a Consecration, so he can clear the board.
Now he knows that this is duplicate, I think. So he's also being really cautious of like what he gives his opponent. And he recognizes that as much as Alex Straza is a giant, it's a little bit trickier to try to play these 9 mana cost legendaries. What?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Just flooded with many cards that he cannot cast. So definitely a good thing to give him those multiple Extrazas. Though it is gonna work. He gained 1 life, so
Sure.
it's not useless.
It's not useless, but it's kind of just doing nothing but putting out threats. And he wants to bait out some removal that he knows the Paladin has, where he has the ability to go for equality clears.
Yeah, now with the Sylvanas, he could, Sylvanas Equality Pyromancer and steal the 4/5 that comes back from Karen.
That is one
But then-
possibility, for sure.
But then how is he going to deal with the next Straza? I guess he just
Right.
goes Equality Consecration.
He has double pyro, double quality consecration, so he's got lots of ways to combine it, mix and match.
Yeah, none of them seem incredibly good for him, though.
Sylvanas might be a play, but then if the next Alex Straza comes out, you have to play Sludge Belcher to stall.
Yeah, even if it doesn't, you're taking a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Okay, so he pulls the trigger here.
This seems like the most fair play to me, just to kind of use equality here and try to take out a minion while putting out a board.
Yeah, makes sense. He knows Hype is out of Flame Strikes. He does still have that Cone of Cold, which could be pretty good if we get to a point
yeah.
where he again equalizes his board. Just leaves
Beats
everything
played around
in
Cone of
toughness.
Cold. I
Yeah.
don't know how intentional that is, but he did. Cone of Cold, Doomsayer, does that improve anything? Does it set up the way for something else to be successful?
What to do?
Doesn't seem like it. He could just. How is that? He could just play Cone of Cold Sylvanas. Finish off the 3/5. You leave his opponent with two small guys.
I
With a
think playing
Sylvanas.
Sylvanas though on a board that you don't have anything to really truly contest it is can easily get removed, and he's just willing to give you like a 1/1.
Well, it's not that easy to remove.
If he has a second True Silver champion, he just kind of like puts out the 4 damage.
Yeah, true, but I would, yeah, maybe just play this Ledge Belcher here.
Right. So the game again slowing down for a lot of time to think, and hopefully there's a way for Savjz to kind of pull himself out of this spot. The Guardian of Kings does present a strongest minion plus heal up a little bit, which is nice. And you know, Hyped of course has something prepared for that situation too. Guess what? He's got Alexstrasza number 3.
Yeah.
Thank you
That's what
very
the
much.
doctor ordered. No, he does have that humility now to at least shrink to Alexstrasza, the final Alexstrasza.
It's just like a boss of a video game where after you kill like a big creature, it just keeps coming back over and over.
Yeah, that is the last one though. No more duplicates, no more Alexstrazzas.
Oh, it's coming down to fatigue too. 4 cards versus 6 cards. Ragnaros gives you a shot to maybe snipe this this Guardian of Kings, but you just wanted to hit not the face? Alright.
Yeah, not the best target, but
Oh my, Savjz finally gets Tyrion. But is it time to use something else here because you want to use Sylvanas to potentially grab control?
Reporting for duty.
This game is starting to develop into a very weird scenario because now there's just battles of legendaries and control. Hype's second Sylvanas could potentially steal whatever comes out here, but I think you want to save that for Tyrion.
yeah. It's just that you don't have a way to kill it. But yeah, I guess.
Oh man. You really hope this doesn't hit Sylvanas and steals Ragnaros. But if you do, you
Yeah.
also have Doomsayer and Frost Nova. Oh no!
Ooh, okay.
What's the moment of truth? Oh, it takes
okay.
the mad scientist. So Hype dodges a big bullet here where he was going to be in a disastrous situation where his opponent grabbed the legendary.
Yeah, now that was actually pretty good for him. You know, got rid of the Sylvanas for almost free.
All right, now he's used Consecration to clear, so he started to play his Sludge Belcher. And now this might prompt Hype to once again play a pretty big creature.
Yeah, and he can finally cast that Molten Giant.
There you go,
With
10
20
mana.
life. Yeah, that took a while.
Now, it's
Almost
important that Hype realizes his opponent definitely has 2 copies of the quality, and it's most certainly going to be coming out soon. So he doesn't want to overextend too much into the board. Meanwhile, he's almost running out of cards. This game is starting to get kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I think,
They're both almost running out of cards, right?
yeah, I think Sylvanas does come down though, because you want to try and contest Tyrion and disincentivize him from using equality too much. Because that's one of the final ways that Paladins can do damage. Paladins can do damage through the weapon of Ashbringer. But then it does come down to a risk of his hero power, and you'll be able to take something a little bit more useless. This is kind of tricky.
Interesting play here.
Wow. All right, now Lay on Hands is actually kind of just an 8 mana heal, but at this stage in Fatigue, it's guaranteeing you closer to taking damage. So this is a tough spot. Savjz also has a choice if he doesn't want to deal with this, like equality just gets saved. He can drop Haunted Creeper and put 2 1/1s.
Yeah, but he saves equality here. You know, is whatever his opponent's gonna play better than his own board?
Oh wow, just a pass. Savjz just gonna give it up, and there's gonna be a 5-3 Ashbringer coming in.
Okay.
And Hype's out of cards.
Ooh.
And this, I don't know if he can actually defend against this onslaught of the Ashbringer, which is partially why I think Sylvanas might have been the better play, unless he can use Alexstrasza defensively. This is his plan. His plan is to play his like creatures like Twilight Drake, Water Elemental,
What to do?
but then
To do.
his opponent will force out like a second equality, and then he uses Alexstrasza to bounce himself back, but he's starting to take fatigue damage. So
Yeah.
eventually, all Savjz has to do, is just hold on to equality until his opponent feels rushed to fill up the board here.
Yeah, and you know, because he's dying to fatigue, those ice blocks are not actually going to do anything. You know, he's just, you know, go to, you know, 1 or 2 life and just die in his turn anyway. So that's 2 of his cards that he's not going to get a chance to use.
Okay. He doesn't want to overextend into equality because the Water Elemental actually does stall up the Ashbringer, but he's got to give him incentive. Oh, although Savjz is on 2 cards, I thought he had a little bit more than that. What is going on? Oh man, Spellbreaker. He doesn't even have to use equality now. He can just disable his Twilight Drake really easily. Alright, he's filling up the board.
Yeah, not going to use it, it seems.
Alright, there's going to be a scenario where he can't Alexstrasza and Ice Block again, so Hyped also has to make a really tough choice when to play Alexstrasza. This Giant is still, even though it's free, it's just the case where
Yeah,
you
it
don't
also
want it
dies
to go
for
into
free.
equality.
Yeah, but again, ice block. What does ice block do him here? You know, if you can pop it on your turn.
I guess Sylvanas comes down now. You have to start playing out these bigger cards.
Yeah, and this is a pretty interesting scenario because both players have pretty much perfect information. They
Yeah.
should know the contents of their opponent's hands pretty much by now, based on like average deck lists and stuff. So
mean-
it really comes down to who can outmaneuver the other.
Kind of want to remind people that this is an elimination game for Savjz. So if he loses this game, which I don't feel like he's going to, like based off this information, I think he can get out heal, but then like lay on hands. What it's good for is making sure that you're kind of outside of range once Alexstrasza is used. But most likely
Yeah, but
Alexstrasza is
you
going to
do
go down
die.
unhyped.
You know, there's a decent chance that drawing 3 cards is just more fatigue damage than the 8 damage, the 8 life you
Alright,
gain.
back over to Savjz. He draws his last card, and he's going to use a Spellbreaker on the Water Elemental instead wisely, so that way he can't get denied from using it. And I think if Savjz was counting, this is a very clever thing to hold for. Now this is where not having direct damage really haunts Hyped, because if he was able to put his opponent at, let's see, 4-3, 8 HP, that's really close to kill, and he has double Ice Block to get the bird, but he's running out of cards here.
What to do? What to do?
Well, he has to heal himself now, right? Otherwise he's just dead.
I wonder.
Man, what does Hype do from this spot, PV?
I don't see a way out. I mean, you know, if you don't heal yourself now, you're immediately dead, right? Because your opponent just puts you to, you know, just pops ice block with you at 1 and you die when you're supposed to draw a card. Unless I don't know how ice block actually works. Like, you do die, right? It just makes you win that turn and then you die to fatigue on your turn.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, so-
You're not protected on your own turn. That's the whole thing. And he's going to go for Alexstrasza on himself because he realizes this is his best chance right now. And now you have to kind of dictate, you have to trade a little bit. And then this forces out equality. And then you take a little bit of fatigue damage. Molten Giant and Sylvanas will be your last answer.
Yeah, which don't think it would be enough. You know, you're gonna take 8 damage now.
How much fatigue damage is he on?
It will be 3, I think.
3, so the Consecration doesn't pop it. Wow, so Savjz attacked really fast because he knew that this is what he wants to do. Like, he needs to kind of get Ice Block popping. Is
he doesn't have to
can he
pop
get
it
away
now.
without using Equality?
But if he just uses equality, like, he just wins next turn. Right? Unless he miscounted and is not sure if your opponent has another Alexstrasza. There were so many this game, but... And then just put his opponent to 7, then to 5 with Consecration. And then next turn you play True Silver Champion and put them to 1. Or whatever.
No, you're right. So that way he doesn't get an extra health because you couldn't kill him. Alright, so finally the equality comes.
Oh, history, yeah, it still has a charge. He doesn't even play the True Silver.
Just
Yeah,
goes
so he's
for as
gonna
many
go to-
minions as possible. This is where Hype's just going to play the rest that he has and start doing hero power to the face. But I think he
Yeah, but-
realizes he can't actually win from here because the secrets don't stay on your own turn. So with that, Savjz has properly cornered Hyped, and he is going to drop this game, which means the series is tied and goes to game 5. All right, well, pretty intense, man. That was pretty long and a lot of thinking,
Yeah.
but for good reason. This is the match and the game that determines who goes on to tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty fantastic way to finish the day. But, you know, a match for the elimination, basically. And how
Alright,
do you
now we
think
go
this matchup
to,
should end? Who has, you know, the most powerful last minion standing? Or, you know, a bunch of small minions in the case of the hero power. And just gaining 2 armor doesn't help with that. And whereas putting a 1/1 could.
That's right, and I think the 1 threat per turn is easily answered by Paladin on the Peacekeeper and Humility end of things. Let's go into Game 5. No more waiting. See who goes into the next round of VGVN 3 between Hyped and Savjz. These guys have been pretty even so far. As the series started off really quick, but the past 2 games have taken 40 minutes or so. And for good reason, they're trying to think very in depth of all these kinds of play possibilities. And this is partially why a lot of people favor control as a measure of skill, because they're like, well, it's much more complicated than just go to the face or not go to the face and try to protect my minion that wants to go to the face.
Yeah, I think in general people tend to underrate how much skill it takes to play an aggressive deck correctly. Because it seems very easy, whereas Control knows all those long, complicated games. But your small decisions matter a lot when you're playing aggro, because you don't have that many of them, but the few that you do are very important.
Oh yeah, it's
here
been
we see-
discussed a lot amongst the pros, especially how aggro is very underloved. But you know, everyone's always gonna whine about stuff like that.
Yeah, we see Savjz's keep is very interesting. It's a keep that he wouldn't have made against any other deck. You know, he kept Black Knight, Sylvanas, and Tyrion, all his opening hand. So clearly he knows what this game is gonna be about, and it's not gonna be about a fast start.
It's gonna take a while, that's for sure. Hope you guys are comfortable and hope you guys have been enjoying these games. And with unstable Ghoul out, which means a lot of armor gain, and Warrior's gonna be stacking up for quite some time.
Yeah.
The battle.
Oh,
Ooh,
never mind. He's
Consecration
just
to
gonna
clear
use
the board.
Consecration. Alright.
Good use of Consecration. It's not gonna get much better than that in this match. It does pair well with the quality, but you have other choices for that.
Sure. Alright,
But he
Hype
does have
takes...
the Harrison Jones in his hand too, so very important in this matchup.
Oh yeah, definitely. Harrison Jones can get the card advantage early on and seize the board while disabling your opponent's weapon. So it's a really big tempo swing for sure. Not to mention it gives you some cards as well.
Reporting
Yeah.
for duty.
And this hand is worth a lot of gold, or a lot of dust rather. You know, it's
Savjz.
all coming out of the falling turns.
Oh gosh.
Let the pain
It's a
speak
lot
to
of
me.
dust at the moment, so the very valuable collection. You should be very proud.
None.
All right, Black Knight on the Sludge Belcher is probably the ideal target. There aren't many taunters in the warrior deck, so now is the time. Pretty systematic.
for
It's
sure.
about lining up all the controls. This is, as much as it might be jockeying for position, a lot of these things are just back and forth. You don't really expect too much of like heavy board swings to pressure and kill.
No, I don't think so. And here he smartly attacks his 1/1 and his 1/1/2 to deny him a card of Acolyte, you know, which would effectively be a free card. So better just suicide that guy than give your opponent an extra card.
All right, ow. Oh man. He doesn't play around the stampeding Kodo, so Kodo can now kill off this Acolyte without and deny a draw. So Hyped, of course, wanted to play as if his opponent didn't have the possibility of having a Kodo, but he ends up paying for it. And this is really good start for Savjz overall.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it's a good start. His hand is very, very good.
Oh, wow.
Let the pain
Guess
it-
what?
to me.
Acolyte number 2 comes out. Weapon of Deathbite pops, kills off the board, and Harrison Jones won't get value, at least right now. He's gonna have to wait.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but, you know, that guarantees at least one card off the Acolyte. But, again, I don't feel like that's a huge deal. He does have, you know, 2 Shield Lamps as an Execute, so he has good answers for the cards that Savjz has.
Put your faith in the light.
All right, and one of those cards is going to be Tyrion. I was going to say Harrison Jones. Tyrion does come down, and Hype can shield slam it. He can
Yeah.
even draw an extra card or two with his cool
I have no
Taskmaster
time
on.
for games.
What's it going on? Oh,
Ooh,
forgot about
shield
Sylvanas
slam,
in
he's on
the place. He
Sylvanas,
can
yeah.
actually shield slam and steal it.
Ooh, that's devastating for Savjz. He doesn't have his silence. He does have Harrison Jones though. So if he managed to kill that, then he can Harrison Jones away the weapon.
Right now, what this does effectively is remove Shield Slam
Time for games.
and Sylvanas as 2 options of removal. It's just kind of one removal that he used to disable it. But then, hopefully, Hype can get value out of Tyrion and be able to try his best to get his damage in as quickly as possible, get a 5-3. Now, what's interesting is if Tyrion comes down, Savjz can kill him and then use Harrison Jones on the 5-3 Ashbringer, and then resume as planned. A Faceless Manipulator comes down. Faceless Manipulator,
Then
and then cool Taskmaster and Shield Slam and steal his second Sylvanas.
yeah, that seems like a good play.
Wow,
it does
but then you're extending
equality.
into quality. Yeah.
Yeah.
But imagine all the Sylvanas plays you can do.
Yeah, probably better to not ascend to equality there. It's an interesting situation. He had to Peacekeeper the Tyrion that he might hope to steal. So he basically be Peacekeeping his own Tyrion here, but yeah, definitely have to hedge in that spot.
Oh. Oh my, he is going for it, taking the Sylvanas. Alright, well now he's kind of again trying to hope that his opponent doesn't have the equality, but Savjz doesn't.
Okay, here, so his Acolyte of Pain was a 1/2, right?
Yes, it was.
So it
And
would have been better to just scroll Taskmaster the Acolyte of Pain, wouldn't it?
yes, it would be.
So you would keep your Divine Shield, you would draw an extra card. Yeah,
You are correct.
I think a little bit of misplay here by Hype, unless I'm missing something.
Hyped might have actually overthought that play a little bit, try to get fancy. Or maybe he doesn't want the card. Maybe he doesn't want to go into Fatigue. Maybe he learned his lesson from the previous game, saying, I don't want to go into Fatigue Wars.
Yeah, I don't think that should be, you know, a very big consideration. Generally, you lose Fatigue Wars because you run out of things to do, not because you run out of time. That's at least most of the time the way I see things. So
No,
he
you're
has
right,
access
you're
to
right.
those cards early. Yeah, he can
that is just
win
one
the game before he comes
consequence.
to that. But also he
Right.
lost his Divine Shield, which is super important because he could have made him lose his Tyrion to an Equality Consecrate.
That is true. Now there's like a weird thing where do you actually Harrison this, or do you wait for the Harrison on the Ashbringer?
If you... It's only one.
Oh, why don't you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, actually? Oh my goodness, you can kill off half the weapon and Harrison Jones. That's almost too sick.
Off half the weapon. What do you mean? Sorry.
So if you attack the Ascension Shieldmaster into Tyrion, it'll
Oh, yeah.
equip
Sure,
a new Ashbringer. It'll kill
Yeah,
off the
then you take
2/1
that.
cool Taskmaster, and then you Harrison Jones.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
But before you do all that, you right-click on Uther and you say "Well met."
You don't even lose your Taskmaster for that. Yeah, wow, that's a pretty big turning point here. Almost makes if he's glad that his Tyrion was stolen. Not really, but
Okay. And Sylvanas still exists though, but now he can start building up minions to be kind of resilient against it.
yeah,
He's
and
holding on to
Sylvan-
Hunted Creeper.
Yeah, Sylvanas won't even be able to do anything now because it's conveniently a 1/4 that has to attack into a 3/3.
Oh man. Poor Hype.
not-
He spent so much
Yeah.
time trying to build up a Tyrion and Sylvanas, and just Paladin did everything to do to slap him down. Like, he just basically got hyped in a noogie. Alright. The hypes from here... He doesn't have Brawl either, by the way. This is like... Savjz also wants to be careful, because as long as Sylvanas is on the board, Brawl becomes... like this trump card that Warrior can have, because Sylvanas will either live or take whatever's alive still.
Yeah, Sylvanas Brawl is a pretty sweet combination. Sylvanas always effectively wins the Brawl, even when he loses.
Definitely why I was happy Sylvanas got bumped up a mana.
Oh yeah,
Because Sylvanas Brawl in the same turn, which is crazy.
Save your coin. So yeah, not looking fantastic for Hype here. It doesn't seem like he has a lot of great options.
Ragnaros is certainly one.
Yeah,
And if
his
he
opponent
wants to
has
hit
no way
something
to
like
kill him.
Harrison, either of the minions... Oh my god, this keeps happening!
Yeah, but his opponent doesn't have a good way to deal with it right now. He can deal with it. He can just attack it, for example. But it's not like he doesn't have a quality concentration or something. So.
I think you're happy to not use a quality consecration, honestly. Oh man, this is
and you
really
get to
bad
kill
for Hype.
Sylvanas. Yeah.
Oh man.
Ooh,
Full
and get
board
to kill
clear.
the Taskmaster too, yeah. So you regain the board advantage, and you got rid of your opponent's 2 most problematic minions, which were Sylvanas and Ragnar. So a great turn for Savjz here.
Okay. Still not over by any means. Hyped has cards like Ysera in his deck, but it's gonna be hard. Now that Savjz has the board, the most important aspect isn't necessarily the card advantage or whatnot. It's the fact that he has board and he can start hero powering down whatever Hyped has. It's going to eventually be met with a bunch of tokens plus smaller creatures, so that way he can pick up really good trades and not even have to use equality unless it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, and it's not even as much about card advantage. It's a lot about card quality. Hype has 4 cards in his hand, but they don't do anything. Armor Smith, Big Game Hunter, and Stable Gold, those cards are, suboptimal for this particular position. Though
Right,
luckily
well-
for him, Savjz has to play around Brawl, so he's just not going to, play his whole board here.
That's true. As long as Brawl exists as a possibility, he has to be careful. Wow, showing so much restraint.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind losing that spider personally, but
Alright, Hype picks up his Gromosh. Now, I'm looking at the health of Savjz, and I don't see a way for him to end up getting killed here. But I also remembered that also made me remember that Hype still has yet to play Naxxramas. So there are ways for him to still win in multiple formats, but it's just got to draw in the right order here.
Yeah, I also think he has a lot of ways to pump his Grommash. I don't think he has any more Taskmasters or Death's Bite. He could Shield Slam it if he has any of that left.
No, he uses Shield Slam to kill his Sylvanas, both of them.
Oh yeah, so I don't think he actually has a way to make this Grommash, threatening the very same turn he comes into play. So that burst is not possible.
All right, now if Hyped plays Unstable Goal and Armor Smith here, and then like uses Execute, then he kind of deals with the board a little bit, but it's going to be really weak. So his option is to play Grommash. All right. And he chooses to go for a defensive approach, try to force his opponent to attack into it and sacrifice minions.
Yeah. Which stalls the game a little bit, but it doesn't do anything towards winning the game at this point. Just stalls it long enough that maybe he can draw Izera, for example, and hope his opponent can remove it.
Yeah, definitely not. Savjz also has the opportunity to answer this Unstable Ghoul and drop his Acolyte to draw. And continue stack his card advantage, which has been floating at a very healthy number the entire time. Alright, well, I guess he doesn't want to draw. Instead, he might want to play a big creature in hero power, like
But you want to play, yeah, I think you want to play Consecration here, so you don't have to attack into 10 damage.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Reporting for duty.
Doesn't want to draw that card, apparently.
Alright, well, back over to Hyped. He's still has to deal with the True Silver Champion that threatens his every waking move, his Armor Smith. And Shield Block will try to see if he can cycle through a more useful card, and Sludge Belcher is certainly a more useful card.
Oh yeah,
Hopefully
for sure.
we'll exhaust his last charge here.
Yeah, I think it definitely will. And, he'll even, the 1-2 will even survive. Or his troubles.
Do you care about this Armor Smith to gain you armor, and would you rather have the healthy Sludge Belcher and have the Armor Smith absorb the True Silver Shot?
You mean you want to play the Armor Smith now to bait the attack, and then next turn play Sludge Belcher?
Well, it seems to be some kind of debate that's going on inside of Hype's head.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Armor made to fit.
Yeah, I think that's a good play. I don't think you care about the armor at all.
For justice.
Oh man.
And-
well, that's a little unfortunate
effort.
because well, it was worth considering. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
It's interesting because you don't care about the armor, and Savjz certainly doesn't care about the armor either, but he does care that you can start picking off his 1/1 tokens. So he has to use the weapon charge. And it seems he's saving his Guardian of Kings for either a post-Brawl or post-Naxxramas.
Yeah, definitely post Naxxramas. Hype draws Black Knight. That's another card where gonna have to wait and see if its value. I liked also that Savjz didn't equip True Silver Champion on the offbeat case his opponent has Harrison Jones. It's a very smart thing to do, so that way you don't give your opponent 2 charges of draws, just maybe 1 at best.
Yeah, and now he doesn't know you have it, so he might make plays, might make different plays on the assumption that you don't have the second one. It's
Such
not
as
late enough
Sludge
into the
Belcher.
game that... Yeah.
Savjz doesn't run Ragnaros, by the way, right? So Hype is holding this BGH for a good cause in his mind, but we don't actually think there's any targets that he can use it on, right?
Well, he should know that. He saw his opponent's entire deck game 1. They both went to fatigue. If he had Ragnaros, he would have played that for sure at some point, I think.
What now?
Yeah, he did. That's true. He did see most of his cards. He held a few at the end, but I suppose Ragnaros would have come out a few other turns, so it is likely.
Yeah, and he doesn't have an equipped Taskmaster to, he could pump his opponent's guy and V-Game Hunter it if it came to that, but I don't think he has any of those left in his deck.
Battle.
So that BGH is just not gonna kill anything ever.
Alright, Savjz doesn't want to risk his Acolyte accelerating him to fatigue. It's starting to get to the last third of his deck.
The battle. The battle. The battle.
This is where the Paladin hero power really shines. You can just start to hit it every single turn, and you have the trades that are really strong as the damage racks up. The
Yeah,
longer
it's
you
like-
wait.
Like addictive versus multiplicative, or whatever that's called, It starts with, the person who's adding gets ahead really quickly, but eventually gets overtaken by a lot.
Ooh, oh man. Hyped hover to execute over. Oh, I wonder if that's a bluff. I wonder if he's making it think like he has cool Taskmaster or something. But Savjz has probably been keeping count. I think there's been 2 played already.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, this is the point where this doesn't have to commit anything else to the board because his hero power just keeps giving him pressure and more damage every turn. So it doesn't need to expose himself to Brawl.
Yes, and this is where Hyped really needs a legendary. Okay.
There's one. And that one is
Yeah,
just
but
gonna die.
It's gonna die, and then Savjz can just heal back up to a higher health than he was anyways. Again, he's got all of the tools and answers. This is what Paladin's great at doing. Answering things one at a time.
Yeah, for sure. And he will still have both the equality and the silence guy for his Zera, which I think is, perhaps the last big threat in Ragnar's, I guess. Of that. Interesting spot. I would not like to be in Hype's shoes here.
No, there's just so much pressure that can come down. It's not like Paladin is under amount of pressure with any kind of fatigue, so he can just keep doing this. And you're in this situation where whatever card you put out even gets picked apart pretty easily. I mean, there's 7 damage on the board, so this Alexstrasza could just die.
Yeah.
Or sorry, there's 8 damage on the board with the Shade of Naxxramas. Alexstrasza can die without even using removal, and just kind of kill off a legendary by just trading Shade into it.
I bring life.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think he actually cares about attacking with the weapon. He's not gonna get bursted out. Gormar's already gone. We would make him more vulnerable to like fatigue war.
The battle.
Yeah, this makes Savjz really open to Baron Geddon.
Yeah,
Which
but
can
again,
do-
he still hypes whole deck, so he knows he doesn't run it. Oh wait, no wait, he didn't.
No, that was the
Okay,
mage deck.
That was a
you're
different
thinking
deck.
of.
Okay.
Right. So if
Yeah.
Hyped was playing Baron Geddon, then this actually shuts down the board.
Or Whirlwind.
That is true. Whirlwind also would be the case. But also in that scenario, Savjz also has the 1/1 tokens remaining from the Haunted Creepers, and that would allow him to use True Silver Champion to trade and also heal up. He's got Lotheb. The quality of cards that he's drawing at this moment are phenomenal. He can just shut down and heal back all the way up to basically 30.
Yep. And I think Lotheb might be what forces a brawl here. Which would leave him free to just play that Guardian next turn.
The battle. The battle. Reporting for
Alright, so Hyped's gonna be coming up on tough decisions where he's looking at 10 damage on the board every single turn from these 1/1s.
Yeah, those will probably force, attacking the spider with the weapon and pulling a brawl, I imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's basically brawling away his opponent's hero power.
Yeah, I guess you brawl away mana worth of cards, or minions, but not really any cards in your opponent's hands. And guess what? Surprise! A 1/1 survives. Paladin goes up to full health and starts the process all over again.
Yeah, he can just play his minions now if he wants to, because his opponent is out of mass removal. But you know, making tokens is also okay.
This is what the people wanted, PV. People said Paladin was not a very viable class for a long time. And now with Naxxramas, they get these Paladin games, which are... It's pretty much this. It's just grind your opponent out.
Yeah, is there even, you know, any card from Naxxramas other than those Ledge Basher? That's the Spider, I guess. Yeah.
Spider, Lotheb. Oh man, he silences Karen. That's pretty rough.
But now he's finally out of answers for his air. You know, he's used his equality, his silence, and he doesn't have enough damage in play to kill it.
Yeah, but Hype's almost out of cards.
Where is the Zera?
Probably his last card of his deck.
Does he run one? He does, right?
He does, and it is the very last card in his deck. But it's okay, because Black Knight was coming out this turn anyways. And looks like BGH will come out to try and contest. And then this allows Savjz to basically push out... Oh my goodness, I forgot about Kieran. Allows him to push out minions and start threatening his opponent with damage. I think if you just like Alder Peacekeeper and start shoving.
Geralt, you are not fit to rule the Horde.
Yeah, I mean, his opponent's super low.
Yeah, I like the push for damage. Your opponent's at 6 health, he's gonna start taking fatigue. He has to win with his next card. And the card that people always say that Ysera can bring a comeback is Ysera Awakens, but you can't use it if you're gonna be dying the next turn because of fatigue damage. There's no way for Hype to win this in my opinion, but
No,
I
he might
think,
be just dead now.
well, I think it's kind of safe to say it from here on, but Hype's gonna try to see what card he draws, but it looks like this is it. Hyped will be out of the tournament, and Savjz will move on in second place, as Hyped will concede, and Savjz's last card drawn will be equality. He had a way to deal with Ysera after all, look at that.